Now, in January of 2022, parts of the Eastern Cape, especially the Buffalo City metro area, this is an area that was ravaged by floods, particularly in the low-lying areas and informal settlements, left hundreds of families destitute. Despite promises from government to provide housing and support, 2 years later, many of those families still find themselves trapped in deplorable conditions. Newzroom Afrika has been following the plight of the flood victims, and today our reporter Sipha Kema is there. Sipha, good morning to you. The nightmare continues for these families.
Well, that is true, Iman. We're still in Duncan village, an informal settlement, one of those that were hit the hardest by those floods in January 2022. But not only that, Iman, the people who live in this community had been allocated houses a while back. We have the Minister of Human Settlements, Minister Manuluko Kobai, talking about that exactly. So before we get into it, let's hear what she had to say on her visit in January 2022.
Here you can see people are sitting at flood lines within areas where they shouldn't be. And others are saying to us that their RDPs were out. People have illegally occupied them. So we'll have to deal with that, remove those who have illegally occupied the houses that they shouldn't, and get the rightful owners where they are supposed to.
Well, you heard what the minister said. Let's speak now to some of the community members here regarding those allocations and what happened to those houses. And then I think right after that, we're just going to show you some of the living conditions in this informal settlement. We have Sidwell here with us. Sidwell, let's talk about, the fact that masqale apho uba le ndaba yezindlu nisase lapha ubuthe wena okwawulapha ngo-98 nanithenjisiwe nanikwa ne-set number zenu kodwa niselapha namhlanje.
Ndingumhlali walapha ke eFort eJiba. Oko ndandilapha ngo-98 mna. Sazinikwa i-sat number. Naxa nje mna eyami inamba la kwathiwa ke iqampele komnye umuntu. Kodwa abantu baselapha namhlanje. Qala ngo-2009. Oko abantu bagcine ezo sat number nangoku. Bakhona abantu ke ababehambe before u-2009. Nangoku ke basekhona basagcina i-stat number nangoku abade bahambe. Bakhona ke nabantu ke abafika mva abangenazi numbers. Kwathiwa ke uzaqala kuhambe aba banee-numbers. Kwathiwa mabalinde bona abo. Namhlanje ke aba nee-stat numbers basekhona ngoku basaquqela izindlu zabo. Abade basiwe ezindlini.
Ngoku tata sukela ngalamini ngalaa xesha lala floods zangoJanuary kwakuwe izindlu apha kulomfula. Usukela ngoko akukabikho ntetho edibene nokuhanjiswa kwabantu?
Akukazi abantu oko qha into enziwayo kweza iskavetha sazokomba apha kwasheka ke ngoku amanye amagali ejinga kuloo ntlambo. Bubugqwayiba ke into ekhoyo apha sihlala ke bugqwayibeni ehlathini. Nentlambo ke amanzi angena ezindlini nemisele. Even ndawo sime kuyo ngoku sime kwindawo enomsele ehamba amanzi.
Now when we just to summarize what he's saying, of course telling us that they were given these site numbers a while back. He's been here since 1998 and nothing has happened since then. He's been waiting. I mean, that sewage that is flowing through right now, what you're seeing is sewage flowing through the informal settlement. These are the conditions that some of these people are living in here in Duncan village, and they said that they have informed the municipality as well. When we spoke to some of the community members, saying that they've informed the municipality regarding this sewage. They've decided to actually build themselves a makeshift bridge so that they're able to get over it. Now, of course, Iman, then in this situation, you have to hold someone accountable. And for us, as we were following this story since 2022, in January 2022, I did call some of those government officials who were here from the 9th of January all the way till the 13th of January, making promises, saying that they pledge that the people here will be moved so that whenever another torrent flood comes, they will not be affected, such as your housing, I think that's the most important. But we try to, of course, reach out also to the Premier's office. But the Premier's office saying that we should speak to Buffalo City Metro because they're the actually implementing agency and they're supposed to be the ones allocating houses. They're the building agencies regarding housing in these communities since it is a metro. That part we do understand. However, we know that, you know, the Premier was here, Minister of and the MEC of Human Settlements then was also here during that time. Hence, we felt that we should also reach out to them because promises were made to these communities and there should have been follow-ups from provincial government to ensure that those plans were actually implemented.
Sipha, just deplorable conditions you're sharing with us there. And what's worse is when you have a disaster situation, officials come in, they make promises, and what they leave the community is with hope. And hope really is the last output. When people lose hope, what do they have left? And one can only imagine, based on other stories that we've done, where raw sewage is flowing through the community, the smell as well that you have to live with. So it's terrible weather, it's poor infrastructure, it is this horrible stench that is in the community. And that brings with it as well a number of health considerations and concerns.
Oh, that is true, Iman. I mean, even though we know the processes on who should be accountable in terms of on paper, but as you mentioned, that whenever a disaster strikes, you have a number of government officials and politicians that visit that area, make promises. These are the promises that we should be holding them accountable to. So we find out, what progress has been made. Have there been follow-ups that have been made by those relevant departments as well? And that is the case in this matter. But we will reach out to Buffalo City Metro and get more input from them. We have also reached out and sent a text to the MEC of Human Settlements spokesperson just to find out where the process is. Now, Iman, this is not the only area where we will be. From here, we will be moving to another informal settlement in Tanzania. One was hit the hardest where 2 lives were lost during those times. They too were also promised relocation. And then later on, we're going to visit those temporary shelters in Mtsotso to find out how the people there are living. They were told that from those temporary shelter or structures, they would be moved to proper housing. You would find that within those temporary structures, it's a single structure, no partition really. There's only one small little block of a private room within, no ablution facilities inside that. And you would find families of 8 living inside there. So we're going to be showing you those visuals later on, though.
Sipha Kema and the team, thank you very much for the update, and we'll keep track of your journey through the community there in Mdantsane. Thank you very much.